What's up, everybody? Welcome back to OPD. We're going to do things a little out of order since Colonel Trumbull's on the road. We're going to do OPD 3 this week and OPD 2 next week. I hope everyone's having a good quarantine. I've gotten pretty good with my knowledge of Harry Potter movies and lyrics from songs from the movie Frozen. It's nice to get out on the road. It's good to be back. It was nice to let it go and be one with the wind in the sky, as Elsa would say. Anywho, here we go. We're going to talk about things the Air Force controls. We're going to talk very broadly about these topics, and then on Thursday, we're going to expand on them with Colonel Pollock as our guest speaker. When we talk about assignments, deployments, special duties, schools, we're talking about large muscle movements, things that are going to shape your future and affect your life on a long range scale. There's a subtlety to talking about these and some harsh truths, especially with deployments. Committing to a course in your career, whether that's an assignment or special duty, can close some doors to you as well as open others, and the path that you want to attain success, whatever that means for you, that path is ever changing. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but it's very important that we first calibrate ourselves with the next slide. So I get a lot of questions about what job, assignment, pursuit people should aim for. With most things, the answer is it depends. Do you want to make rank in the Air Force? Do you want to settle in a particular location? Do you want to set your spouse up for opportunities? All these things play into this complicated calculus to determine your assignment or desire to pursue school or other opportunities. What I think is really important is to be aware of the arrival fallacy. That was coined by Tal Ben-Shahar, and it states that the illusion that once we make it, once we attain our goal or reach our destination, we will reach lasting happiness is untrue. Achievement in and of itself does not equate to happiness. There's the concept of focalism, the fact that we tend to fixate only on the upside of whether it's an airplane or a location or a job. We only think about the positives, and those achievements, they come with consequences we might not anticipate. Studies show the top predictor of happiness, if that's what you're truly pursuing, is quality time with people you care about and who care about you. In other words, relationships are the primary driver of happiness. A lot of you want to know what's out there, but don't know where you want to go, what you want to attain, or what makes you happy. A lot of officers, especially younger ones, have thrust no vector. So before having a conversation about your future, you should have a solid understanding of what drives you, what makes you happy, and kind of anticipate how a particular course of action may affect your future plans. And just a quick word on balance and harmony. Balance, strictly defined, can mean one of two things. First is an equal distribution, which is difficult, if not impossible. It's like having two glasses of water. You got your family and your work life, and you try to keep them exactly full. Very difficult to do. Second, the definition I like is about correct proportion. Requires a sensitivity to the demands of your personal and professional life. It speaks to harmony, so you have to pay attention to the urgent and not let other aspects of life suffer beyond repair. So imagine multiple glasses of water. You got your fitness, spirituality, family, job, flying, and you're consuming and filling them depending on the situation, and tending to the ones that are important at that time, but not letting any particular one deplete entirely. That's kind of how I view the balance there. If I had to provide a bottom line before we get into this, it would be that you should keep all your doors open, as many as you can for your professional career. You'll likely have to commit at some point to a course of action. However, you should never compromise what makes you truly happy. And things like family and quality of life should always play into decision making. There's many buckets we juggle, be they the job, flying, family, fitness, spirituality, etc. And at different times, one or more may suffer, so long as they're sustained and recharged later, again, at the expense of others. This is balance, this is harmony, maintaining without failing, engaging the right targets at the right time. So we'll get into this. PCS and assignments. Speaking very generally, officers will spend 3 to 4 years at a location. I've personally had an assignment as short as 30 months, and I've known dudes hanging out for over 4 years. When your commitment expires, you'll likely be on your third assignment. The old paradigm is that your first 3 assignments would be 2 gray tails and a white jet. Gray tails being your C5, KC-10, C-17, MWSs, your white jets, UPT instructor, C-21s, DV airlift, etc. Around your third assignment, you'll make major, be up for a school look, and if you earned a school slot, that would be followed by a staff assignment and then DO in command. That particular format doesn't work for everyone, doesn't fit for everyone. There's a number of roads to go down. Just some perspective, especially for first and second assignment people, your mastery and performance in the C5 is paramount at this point in your career. There are opportunities to fly other mobility aircraft through Phoenix programs. UPT is always looking for instructors. There's a recent push to emphasize special instructor duties. Special and DV airlift programs give you an opportunity to fly internationally with a new mission set. Depending on your degree, you might be eligible to apply as an Air Force Academy instructor. If you have an engineering background, you could qualify for test pilot school if you want to get into the test world. Foreign area officer opportunities if you're good with language, recruiting, or even Civil Air Patrol liaison positions. There's a lot of stuff out there. So as you do some soul searching like we just talked about, and figure out kind of what interests you and what's best for you, there's some things you can do to set yourself up. First, like I said, performance in your primary duty is paramount. Be good at your job. If you spend all your time looking at the next thing, your current thing is going to suffer, and that might disqualify you for future opportunities. Secondly, articulate your goals and desires to leadership. Talk to your supervisor, the chief pilot, about where you want to go, and they can help you with the roadmap. When the timing is right, the commander can work his magic, but your performance must be worthy of his effort, and your desires need to be clear. Third, you need a network. Talk to people about what they're doing, find out what's out there, do the legwork to figure out when, where, and how to gain these opportunities. Leadership is happy to work with you, but with 70 pilots on the books, you have to shoulder the bulk of the legwork and figure out where you want to go. Formulate a plan and figure out where you need help, and we'll roll in and help. A word from our sponsor, Duke Cannon. I don't know if you've seen them around. I got the link on there. They do personal grooming, soaps, etc. A big supporter of the military. 5% of their net profits each quarter go to a veterans charity. They are known for their big ass brick of soap. I just got a few of them in the mail, and they're awesome. A little pricey, but I mean, one of those things will last you a month or two. They're modeled after the old GI issue soaps from Korea back in the day. So check them out. All right, deployments. People make fun, but however you slice it, being away from home sucks. So if there's one thing I could talk about on this slide, especially for people who've never deployed, just face the truth that you will deploy during your Air Force career. Might be downrange. IUD is pretty popular. There's opportunities in Europe, Asia, South America, even in the U.S. It just depends. Expect to be hot for deployment as a captain. The longer you go without deploying, the hotter you become. Taskings come down to the group, and they're divvied out to each squadron to keep things equitable. Leadership will do their best to match deployments to people based on who's next in line. Development opportunities, depending on what the job is, and timing of life events. The bottom line, leadership approaches deployments fairly and equitably. Other bits of calculus they factor is where you are in the upgrade process. If you're hot for a 365, your vulnerability for a 365, that's based on your short tour return date. You can find that on your CERF. So it's based on your rank, and the farther back your short tour date is, the hotter you are to drop a 365. So taking a deployment can push that date forward or fence you off for a certain period of time. We can talk more details in the live version, especially the rules are ever changing about dwell times. The biggest takeaway I want you to know is deployment is inevitable, and you need to prepare yourself and your family for that eventuality. So when one drops, you're not scrambling and trying to get your life and your head in order. All right, we touched on this a little bit. Special duties in schools, right? AFPC, they send out a PSDM on MyPERS. Each year there's a list of schools, and when you make major, you get to kind of rack and stack what you're interested in to go to IDE or SDE when you make lieutenant colonel. There's some schools out there, joint schools, Air Force schools. There's fellowships at civilian schools. Stuff to take a look at. If you want an old PSDM, we can dig those up for you, and you can just kind of look at what's out there that you might be interested in the future. Other opportunities might present themselves out there. You see them in memos and emails through the exec channels. Hey, we're looking for a aide de camp or a general's exec job. There's some other weird stuff out there that might pop up. So talking specifically about school, setting yourself up for school is much like setting yourself up for promotion, which we have not talked about here because that's a whole other discussion. But in a nutshell, you'll be competitive by demonstrating consistent, superior performance ahead of your peers. Now for special duties, if something pops up that you're interested in, like one of those exact aide de camp sort of jobs, talk to your leadership, since every case is different. A pro tip, by the time those things get emailed out and down to you at the squadron level, it's usually a really quick turnaround. So make sure you have quick and ready access to your last 3 OPRs, your CERF, PT test, and a biography. Not all jobs require all those things, but it's good to have them on hand. Most of those type of opportunities require at least 2 years' time on station, and will likely drive a quick PCS. So again, you need to be flexible and willing to move quickly if you want to jump on those types of opportunities. All right, here's some homework. I love alliteration if you haven't noticed. So Beatboxing with the Boss on Thursday, 10 local. I know there's going to be a lot of Q&A, and we might not get to these questions, but I want you to at least think about them heading into that. So what aspects of the Air Force make you really happy? That goes towards quality of life and kind of helping determine what you want to do with your future. What are some things we can do to prepare for deployment now, especially if you never have? And have you discussed future moves with your family and friends? You may have a roadmap of your next couple of assignments, but does your spouse, that support network? So just something to think about going into Thursday's discussion. All right, here's the wrap up. Like I said, Thursday we're going to talk more specific on questions. Realize a lot of what you think and feel about the Air Force starts with your perception and reaction to things that happen, being mentally prepared, working towards your goals, finding the upside in situations, blooming where you're planted, will make for a more fulfilling career and life on the whole. So that's all I got. As always, please leave feedback, any questions, comments, send them my way, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a good one.